In this video, I'll introduce waiting places and timers, and other blocking functionality. But instead of just modifying our example, I'll just quickly jump to the notation, just to give you the overview in here, because it's a bit more difficult to understand right in front. So I've opened a few examples, and I'll open one after the other using the scenario traversal module. So the first example here in red is a waiting place. The waiting place goes and waits until either something is true in its outgoing connection here, or there's an incoming connected path to it. So this would be an example of an activation caused by an endpoint that is connected to it. So for now, for this example, the outgoing node connection here is by default true, so that therefore it just continues on. Whereas for this second scenario, the outgoing connection here is false. So it blocks there and it waits until that condition becomes true, or another node connection or another endpoint is connected to it and it arrives. However, in this case, it never happens. So therefore the waiting place is blocked. The third option is a timer. So the timer is exactly like a waiting place, same behavior on the outgoing here, but it has a different look, as you can see by the figure, and it has an optional timeout path. So what happens here with the timeout path is there's a condition here, which is false. Well, it can be anything you want. And we've got the condition on the regular outgoing node. And if after a period of time both are still false, it'll automatically take the timeout path if it's blocked. So if nothing else is left to execute, it'll execute the timeout path. And by nothing left, I mean it could have another something else on another map that would be executing until completion. And when that's done, and no variable here has changed that would impact the outgoing node connection, it would go through it. Another option here is the activation. So that's what I meant. This is the same element here, but instead of timing out, it waited for something to happen. Both these conditions are false, but the activation scenario arrived. So this is a second start point in the same scenario. It starts off with start 4, goes to timer, it blocks there, and then it fires start 4 activate, that second start point in the same scenario, which unblocks the timer and goes to N4. We also have preconditions. So this is not with a waiting place, but it's very similar. It blocks until a certain condition is true. So if I click on this, I can see that my precondition is a Boolean variable named precondition. And if I look at my scenario initializations, preconditions is false. However, in the other one, precondition is true. So if I look at the initialization here, precondition is true, so it fires through. So the other one here was blocked and never continued, whereas because a condition became true, this one did. So if you have multiple elements on the map, one could, let's say in a responsibility, change a variable that would launch another start point. So back to our demo. What we're going to do is we're going to change the have fun responsibility. So we'll extract that into a map, refactor into stub, and we'll say have fun, and we'll drill down into this and change it. So I'll rename my map. Instead of extracted UCM, I'll just call it have fun to be consistent. I'll move this a bit to the left, rename my start point start, my end point leave. I'll remove my have fun here responsibility, and I'll add a timer, and I'll call it play. Now what I'm doing here is play until you're ready to leave. So I'll just say false here on the outgoing node connection to say that I will always be playing as much as I can. I will add however, a timeout path. Oops. And put that at the bottom. And I will bring this timeout path back into here. So I'll add, insert the, actually I need to do it from the palette, or join, and connect these two. So now I have a timeout path, and regardless of what happens, maybe I'll just add a direction arrow to make it clearer. Regardless of what happens, either I continue and I'm done, or I'm tired, I will leave. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll just try running this and see what happens. We can see that because this condition is false, and so is this one, eventually times out, and I leave. I'll just call this I'm tired. Just add a little label to say I'm tired. So I'll play until I'm tired, and then I leave in the normal scenario. I'll just show that this is the actual customer that is doing this by taking my component, dragging it from the outline, and putting it in the back, bind all enclosed, so I can move it a lot easier and assign everything to that. And the next thing I'm going to do is create another path. So I'll just create this simple path here, and I'll say stop playing. So this is, let's say, inform, and I'll connect this to the plate timer. I'll remove the label here just to avoid a bit of clutter. So we're going to be playing here until the cashier arrives and tells us to stop playing, because maybe the room is full and we need to get out, maybe our time is lapsed. So that's all that's going to happen. So I'll add a responsibility here just to make it clearer. Inform that session is over, and move that around so it's a bit clearer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create another scenario that is going to do launch this start point, so that when we block here at play, we're playing. Before we're tired and we time out, somebody is going to unlock us, and somebody's going to push us out of that state and force us to leave. So let's say I'll duplicate my cache scenario. Instead of cache dupe, I'll say inform that session is over. I'll call it that. And if you recall that my scenario includes another one, so it includes the normal scenario, I'll just shut this down for now. Start points is enter store, which is at the top level. So I'll add another one, add start point. And inside have fun, I'm going to say stop playing. So I'm going to fire this afterwards. Other than that, everything else is the same than the cache scenario. So I'll start that. So you notice if I run cache, I play until I'm tired. If I launch that second start point, it'll unlock the timer and it continues out until it's done. That's it. Thanks.